Once upon a time, on a planet far, far away, far from everything else, which we just so happen to live on, a space-age technology has been developed. This technology is called printing. Now, you may be thinking that printing is nothing new, but friends, this is no ordinary printing. This is three-dimensional printing. Everyone knows how a printer works. They print on the XY axis on flat sheets of paper using only ink. A 3D printer, however, prints on three axes, X, Y, and Z. The printers can use many different types of materials, which varies on what printer you are using. But we will talk about that later. These printers come in all different shapes and sizes, anywhere from an at-home personal $500 printer to a multi-million-dollar industrial printer. They can sit on your desk or take up the size of a single car garage. They can fabricate anything from small gears or bouncy balls to a full-size vehicle. The printer uses programs like CAD, computer-aided drafting, and other 3D modeling programs. Once you design your object in CAD, you then import it to the printer software, where it determines if your object will print, how much material it will need, the dimensions, what angle would be best to print it, and where the supporting material needs to be located. The process can take anywhere from 1 hour to a full day, depending on the object. During the process, the printer head deposits the material layer by layer, progressively building a 3D object. Once the object is finished being printed, you remove it from the printing chamber and place it in a chemical solvent bath that washes away the supporting material. The supporting material is essential because when an object is printed, the supports will keep the structural integrity, or it could bend in the printing process. The printer is kept right below the melting point of the main material so that the object stays malleable. This is key because otherwise the material would remain too rigid to print effectively. Materials range from nylon compounds and metals all the way to human DNA. It just depends on the printer and the needs of the user. Some can use multiple materials, while more economical printers are limited to one material. The nylon compound, which is shown in the picture, comes in a spool. Metal material comes in powder form, and the DNA material is taken from the individual's body and put into the printer. Those are just a few of the materials that can be used. Aircraft manufacturers and technicians use 3D printing for specialized parts that are hard to cast in traditional ways. 3D printing cuts down on time, cost, and overall weight of each part made. In many cases, the strength of each part printed is just as strong as its cast counterpart. Engineers can design things in CAD and test them with 3D printers. This gives engineers a new ability to see what a product or design will do before it is tested in its real-world application. Doctors use the 3D printer in one of the most creative ways, by printing bones, skins, limbs, and organs for their patients. This saves lives because people don't need to wait for a match. Instead, they have a new one printed out of their own DNA. Dentists use this as well for creating dentures. Jay Leno even uses his own 3D printer for his car hobby. When he comes across a part he needs that is no longer produced, he uses his scanning device to scan the broken part into CAD. He can then fix the broken part in the program and print it. Once it is printed, he can chrome plate the part and paint it as needed. Then he can replace what was broken with the part that he just reprinted. We thought going to UND's Industrial Tech program to get a first-hand look at their 3D printer and talk to the professors who run it was a very good idea. We learned that UND's 3D printer uses a nylon compound mixed with the supporting material, then using the solvent solution mixture to get the finished object. At the same time the printer head releases the material, the base table also moves, so together the 3D printer creates the object. The program uses the printer for a hands-on learning experience for the students. They get to learn how to create an object they design and how to program it on the software. Then they transfer their design to CAD and finally use the printer to create the final product. They use the printer for smaller pieces and have found it very helpful for their program.